Spooky images and thunderstorms were on display that night with the drop of a passport bearing Alex Browning. It bore books, whereas page flips bore images of death and old pictures. Death at its peak. Can death be escaped? They say that when death has set its sights on you, there's no escape. But Alex and his 3 teenage friends are about to put that theory to the test. Well, sit back and allow me to tell the story of how 4 teenagers escaped the wicked hand of death. Welcome. This is I Am Movies. Before we start, hit that like and subscribe button. As the movie begins, we're introduced to Alex Browning, a teenage boy preparing to go to the airport. Their school was traveling to Paris for a field trip. At the airport, Alex meets with the rest of his classmates and their teacher, who is traveling with them. As they all moved to the escalator, a spooky-looking man handed a magazine to Alex, saying, "Death was not an end." Strange, right? Well, Alex's teacher dragged him away from the man. Alex noticed the departure sign at the checkpoint, which said mostly canceled and delayed. As they were waiting, the students engaged themselves in different activities. Alex passed by Clear, one of his friends, who seemed reserved from the rest of the class. He helped her pick up her book that fell, and as she looked at the book, the page was of a crashed plane. When Alex was in the restroom, he got worried as a song about a plane crash played over the speaker. And after collecting their tickets, Alex noticed some parts of the plane were damaged. They walked towards the aircraft, with Alex staring out the window and watching the thunderstorms and rain with trepidation. On the plane, they met with other passengers. Alex found his way to his seat. It is evident that he is scared of planes. Not long after, 2 girls, Blake and Krista, moved over to his seat, and Krista politely asked Alex to swap seats with her so she could sit with Blake. Alex accepts and moves over to sit with his friend. Not long after, the plane kicks off to start flying. Suddenly, the plane started shaking. The passengers were scared, but the chaos died after some time. It started again soon, and this time it was more severe than first. Luggage began to fall on the passengers as the lanes swerved from side to side. They all grab a safety mask, but it doesn't help as part of the plane crashes. Before long, some passengers were thrown off the plane, and death flew around the aircraft as the plane crashed completely, killing everybody. Alex then finds himself back on the plane while it is still boarding. When events from his vision begin to repeat themselves in reality, he panics and attempts to stop the flight before takeoff. He tried to relay his dream, but how he did it got his classmate Carter angry and wanting to fight with Alex. They were thrown out of the plane for causing a nuisance. The commotion caused Alex and others to get kicked out of the plane. They include Alex, orphan Clear Rivers, Alex's best friend Todd Wagner, teacher Valerie Luton, Alex's rival Carter Horton, Carter's girlfriend Terry Cheney, and student Billy Hitchcock. After they are all forced off the plane, none of the passengers believes Alex's vision will come true. Carter was mad at Alex and said, "We got kicked off the plane because of your dream." They were about to start exchanging punches when the airliner took off and exploded midair, killing everyone on board. The survivors were devastated and were interviewed by 2 FBI agents who showed interest in Alex's vision. Each of their families arrived to pick them up, except for Clear. Alex's parents gave her a ride home. That night, Alex couldn't have a good night's rest, as the sad loss of their friends shook him. He listened to the news that announced that none of the passengers survived. I don't think anyone could have survived, though. A month later, a memorial service was held for the deceased. At the service, Alex and Carter argued yet again. Everyone seems to stare at Alex strangely, like he is the cause of the student's death. After Todd gave his speech, Clear walked up to Alex and gave him a flower. She said it was because of him that she was alive. After the service, Todd was in the bathroom when something strange happened. His water closet was leaking. He cuts himself with a blade while trying to shave. As he walked around the bathroom, the leaking water was following him. At the same time, Alex had weird feelings. He kept seeing things that reminded him of the crash. Then it happened. The leaking water got to Todd's feet and he slipped. His neck got caught on a rope and he struggled to free himself. He couldn't scream for help as the rope grip around his neck got firmer. His father lay asleep in the living room, oblivious to what his son was going through. Todd could have been alive if he had made it to the living. Just as the saying goes, nobody dies in the living room. But he couldn't make it, and as his body became stiff in the bathtub, the water strangely dried up. Alex arrived at Todd's house to see an ambulance in front of the house. He saw Clear hiding behind a tree close to the home and wondered what had happened. He was horrified when they wheeled out Todd's body. His parents believed that he had killed himself. Alex didn't think so and tried telling them it could be an accident. But what can you say to a man who has lost 2 sons? Alex visited Clear at her workplace, and they both expressed their curiosity about Todd's death. They decided to see his body. They sneaked into the room, and there he lay. He was lifeless, with marks of strangulation on his neck. His hand moved a bit, and they almost died of fear. The mysterious mortician, William Bloodworth, came out to meet them. He explains that death is intervening to kill everyone who was meant to die on the plane. The next day, Alex and Clear discussed what the mortician had told them. Alex believes death is after them and informs Clear that he must warn the rest. Todd's death scared Terry as she planned to move out of town. Her boyfriend, Carter, isn't pleased with this news. He started to blame Alex for all that had happened, and she made to leave the scene, telling him to drop dead if he wasn't ready to move on. The table turns, and she is the one who drops dead as she gets hit by a bus. Alex is now acting strange. His father is worried because he won't talk to anyone. He said he would speak as soon as he confirmed what was happening. After watching a news report detailing the cause of the explosion of Flight 180, Alex concludes that death is killing the survivors in the same order they would have died in the explosion on the plane. He determines that Miss Luton is next on the death list. He goes over to her house to make sure that she is safe. Meanwhile, Miss Luton is on a call. She complained about how everything reminded her of her students and colleagues who had died. When she saw Alex through the window, she called the cops. They arrived and took Alex to the station. Alex explains his observation to them, and as they discuss, Miss Luton continues with her duty, but the night is getting creepy. She puts on the gas cylinder to boil water, but when it goes off, she knows things are going off. Moving on, she poured a cup of hot water for herself. But with how she feels, maybe water isn't the right thing to take. The cup cracks as she drops it on the table. She didn't notice this and poured some alcohol into it. The cup started leaking liquid. She carried the mug, took a sip from it, and walked towards the sitting room. As she walked, the alcohol was dripping on the floor. And then it happened. Some of the liquid that dropped on the kitchen cabinet has found its way into the oven, which in turn has caused a spark. Miss Luton returned to the kitchen, and the microwave oven exploded in her face. She retreated in pain. Meanwhile, Alex was allowed to go home at the station after a series of questions from the FBI agents. One of them was beginning to believe all that Alex had been saying. Alex sensed danger and ran toward Miss Luton's home. Meanwhile, Miss Luton is facing hell on earth. She struggled to find a way to save her, but the fire started tracing the alcohol drops on the floor, and in no time, the kitchen went up in flames. Miss Luton tried to reach for a towel hanging on a shelf, but disaster struck, and the towel came down with a knife that stabbed her in the chest. Alex walked in at this moment, but couldn't save her. He ran out of the house, which exploded almost immediately. As Alex drives with his surviving friends Billy, Clear, and Carter, he's hit with another vision. This time, a train wreck sends shivers down his spine. However, Carter has had enough of this death talk and decides to take control of his fate. He swerves his car towards an incoming fuel tanker, hoping to end it all. But the future has other plans, and the car manages to dodge the tanker at the last minute. Carter then parks the car on a train track ready to meet his maker. As his friends try to convince him to change his mind, Carter's seatbelt gets jammed, trapping him inside. It's Alex to the rescue as he rushes to Carter's aid. With seconds to spare, he manages to rip the seatbelt apart, freeing Carter from the car, which gets obliterated by a train seconds later. But their relief is short-lived as Billy gets decapitated by a piece of shrapnel from the train. Alex is convinced that his intervention saved Carter from death, but in doing so, he inadvertently sealed Billy's fate. A chilling realization sets him off on a mission to save the remaining survivors. His next stop is Clear's house, where she's trapped in a car surrounded by flames. A damaged electrical cable dangles dangerously close to the car, and Alex knows he has to act fast. He picks up the live wire and saves Clear at a terrible cost. The electric shock sends Alex to the ground, leaving him fighting for his life. But with the help of Clear and the police, he manages to pull through. 6 months later, the surviving trio is in Paris, basking in the glory of their narrow escape. They think it's all over, but fate has one last twist in store for them. As they discuss their ordeal, A massive neon sign swings off its hinge, hurtling toward Alex. In a split second, Carter jumps to his feet and pushes Alex out of the way, saving his life. But as he turns to face Alex, the sign swings back, hitting him with a sickening thud. With only Clear and Alex left standing, they realize that death is still lurking in the shadows, waiting to claim its final victims. As the movie ends, we are left with a haunting feeling that something is still not right. The survivors may have cheated death once, but can they do it again? Only time will tell. That's it for today. I just have one request from you. Can you hit the thumbs up button or like this video? It will help this small channel get the algorithm up and reach more people. Don't forget to like and subscribe to get more updates from us. Thanks for watching. See you in the next video.